guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I thought I would film a quick Q&A video for you guys because as you can see, we're still on holiday, but I really wanted to keep up my content for you if I could. So I put out a message on Instagram and said, do you have any questions for me? And I have quite a few here. Some are holiday related, some aren't, but I'm just gonna answer an array of different questions. And if you have any other questions that you want me to answer or reply back to, put them in the comments down below and I will do my best to get back to everyone. And if you like this kind of video, give it a thumbs up. And of course, I would love for you guys to subscribe if you're not already. All you have to do is click the little red button below, and I post 3 videos a week and I put my heart and soul into this channel. So I would love to have you along for the journey. But with all that said, let's get into the questions. Oh, and also, I've just literally been poolside, so my hair, I've got my caftan on, I've got my wet swimwear on. I've just run up here while Jackson is having a nap to film this video. So, first question is, do you guys always stay in all-inclusive when you go on vacation? So we do now that we have kids. When Matt and I first met, if you know the story, we went traveling for 7 months together. We did hostels, we did all kinds of different things. I would never back then have said that I would be the type of person to do all-inclusive package holidays. I would have been like, I will never do that. As soon as you have kids, they're just the easiest way to go. Food is available at all times, drink is available at all times. There's so much on for the kids that now they're all the kind of holidays that we do. So we always tend to book all inclusive now. The next question is, do you guys ever plan to move into a different house in the future? So recently we actually found a house that we loved online, and although we haven't been planning to move, we thought, well, let's just go and have a look at it. Anyway, we had a look at it, we fell in love with it. It was just perfect. We really, really loved it. Anyway, from seeing it, we went away and just saw if we could even get a mortgage for that kind of house or whatever. Anyway, that took a few weeks. Then we found out that we could maybe get that house. Then we tried to book a second viewing and it was gone. So it's sold. So I don't think we're gonna move anytime soon, but it's definitely made us think, oh, maybe we could maybe move. So I'm always looking on Rightmove. It's pretty addictive, isn't it? The next question is, do you wear makeup on holiday in the day? And I do. I personally love wearing makeup. I just think it's fun and it gives me confidence. So even if it's just a bit of tinted moisturizer and bronzer, I personally feel better wearing it. Like I would put on makeup even just to pop to the supermarket. So yeah, I always wear makeup, but I know that's not for everyone. The next question is quite a cool one and one that I've never been asked before. It's, if you could share a meal with anyone, living or dead, who would it be? And I know exactly who this would be straight away. It would be without a doubt Will Smith. I love Will Smith and I just think he's really inspirational. He's recently started a YouTube channel, which is incredible, and he follows the law of attraction. Some of you guys might know about it, but I also am really interested in that, and I love seeing what he says about life and his marriage and how he parents and everything. So I would love to have dinner with Will Smith. He's so cool. The next question is, what is the best life advice you have received from someone? So for this one, the first thing that pops into my head is a very long time ago, I read a book by Jack Canfield. I think it was called 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And in that, the one thing I really remember is that he says that our reactions create outcomes. So if an event happens, how we react to it creates the outcome. I hope that makes sense. So basically, we're responsible for our reactions, and the way that we react to something creates if we're going to be happy or sad, basically. So for instance, if a troll was to send me a horrible comment, I can react to that with dwelling on it or thinking, how dare they? Or I can react to it by thinking, oh, I feel really sorry for them, they must have quite a few issues, and like move on with my day. So I try to be careful with the way that I react to things. Obviously sometimes things do get to me, but overall I try to think about how I'm gonna react to things. The next question is, did your boys ever refuse their high chair and what did you do to help? So recently Jackson has not wanted to get into his high chair. It has been like getting a cat into a box. He just doesn't want to do it. So we've just finally got him a booster chair. So he's sitting on a big boy chair with his brothers, but in a booster seat. So he's still strapped in and safe, but he is at the table like them, and that has really helped. The next question is, how does your professional experience and studies influence your YouTube career? So it's funny, looking back, I think everything that I've done in the past has kind of brought me to do YouTube, and it's kind of all worked out. Before this, I did marketing and PR, and a lot of the things that I learned through work, etc., have transferred over to YouTube really well, and hopefully that's why my channel has been growing, because I think about my thumbnails and I think about my titles and I think about my tags and how to market myself to help it grow. So I think that the skills that I learned previous have definitely helped with growing my channel, I think. The next question is, where did you get Jackson's blue jelly sandals from? So we got them from somewhere in Shenfield called Little Legs, but that is in Essex, so I know that's not going to be close to everyone, but they did have them on Amazon. If they're still available, I'll link them down below, but I think they had sold out of that color quite quickly. But I'll put them in the link. They're brilliant because they're Velcro and they're really comfy for Jackson. My friend Kirsten recommended these to me. The next question is one that I get so often, and that is, would you like any more children? So this is a really tricky question because Matt and I always said we'd have 3 kids, and we are pretty done with 3. We're really happy. There's a really good balance in our family. I think having 3 of one sex is actually really special. I just love the way things are at the moment, but I feel really sad saying that that is it. I feel like I'm writing myself off, and I know that sounds really silly, but I feel sad that I won't be pregnant again. I feel sad that I won't give birth again. It really, like, I do feel really sad about it. So I think it's a no, but I actually hate saying that. The next question is, did Matt want children at the same time as you did? So, funny story, when Matt and I got married, we decided that we'd have a year of married life before we had children. So a year was nearly up, and I said to Matt, I've been on the pill for ages, I'll just come off of the pill because it's gonna take so long to get out of my system, and then by the time we're ready, we'll have a baby. And I kind of convinced him that it would take like a good year to fall pregnant, because that's what most people say. Anyway, I came off the pill and I literally got pregnant within the first 2 weeks or something ridiculous. Now I know that you're actually quite fertile as soon as you come off the pill. I had no idea back then, but basically Matt always jokes that I trapped him because I convinced him it wouldn't happen for ages, and it literally was like, we're having Fraser. The next question is, how are you coping with parental separation anxiety, and did your family ever make you feel bad about it? So I am still struggling with it a bit. I'd like to say I've got better, but I think really I still really struggle with it. Like, especially with Jackson, he is due to start 2 half days at nursery from September, and I am dreading it. And I know I'll find it really hard, but he's gonna be 2, and I would love just a few hours to get some stuff done or work on this vlog. So it's this like thing I've got to do, but I really struggle with it. And I also heard the other day that when Fraser gets older at school, there's like these like nights away or weeks away that they do at school, and I'm already like, and also Matt recently said that for his 40th, which is like years away, that he would love to go to New York, just me and him, but already I'm like working myself up about it. So I don't actually think I'm coping with it that well. I do have to try CBT. So many of you recommended that I do that, but I just haven't had a chance to do it. I am gonna try CBT, and I think family, they don't mean to make you feel bad about it, but because they don't understand it, they make you feel bad about it without you even knowing. They're just like, why can't I just take him and, you know, go out with him, or, you know, they don't get it. And I see now how other people in my life have had anxieties and I've not understood them, and I've been a bit like, why don't you like flying? Like, what's wrong with you? But now looking back, I sympathize with them. The next question is, what is the biggest piece of advice that you would give to other mums? So I am actually scripting a video at the moment about 10 things I wish I knew before I had a baby. So that will be coming very soon. But I think the main things are to relax as much as you can, but I know that's very difficult in the early days. Next next thing is to get your baby into a routine as soon as you can. I don't think we had a routine until 8 to 12 weeks, but after that, having a routine has just meant that I have been able to stay sane. Also, everything is a phase. Now that I have a 7-year-old, I can really appreciate that the fussy eating was a phase. He eats really well now. The tough sleeping was a phase. He sleeps really well now. Like, everything is totally a phase. And the last thing would be to try and be as empathetic as you can when you have a baby. Being a baby is actually really hard. Like, imagine not being able to communicate if you're hot or if you're hungry or if your teeth are killing you because it hurts so much. So I think it's actually really hard being that little. So if you can empathize, then that's good as well. I don't know if that's very helpful or not. The next question is, how did you potty train Fraser being your first child? I have a 20-month-old and I'm not sure if I should start or not. So I have actually made a video about potty training from when I potty trained Caleb. So I'll link that down below so you can go and watch it. I would say don't put any pressure on it. You will know when they're ready. Fraser actually potty trained at like 20 months. He was very young, but he's always been very forward, and he just started taking his nappy off and refusing to wear it, basically. And even things like if he went to the toilet, he would go and get my changing bag and be like, change me. He just hated wearing a nappy or a diaper. So he was very, very young. And now that Jackson is that age, I can't believe that Fraser potty trained at that age. But then Caleb was 2 years and 10 months. And he was very ready. I waited for the signs. And yeah, I'll link that video down below because there are loads of tips in it. But I would say, don't put pressure on it. Like, they're not going to be 18 and not potty trained. If they're 2 or if they're 3 or even if they're 4, like, it doesn't matter. Like, they will potty train when they're ready. The next question is, what age was Caleb when you started trying for Jackson? So with all of our boys, they're all nearly 3 years apart. With each baby, we didn't feel ready to have another baby until the first one was 2 years old. So whenever one reached 2 years old, Matt and I were both like, okay, we think we could do this all again. They were kind of in a routine, a bit older. So every time one turned 2, we got pregnant again. And Jackson is gonna be 2 in September, but I don't think we're gonna do another one. The next question is, how do you feel about dummies, and did your boys ever have them? So the boys never had a dummy, and I never even really thought about giving that to them because they weren't that fussy. And I think in a way I became a little bit of a human dummy or pacifier, because if they cried or got fussy, I would just put them on the boob and that worked wonders. And obviously you can't walk around with a boob in your mouth, so it has to be taken away. So that's what I did, but I just think whatever you have to do in motherhood, you do. Happy mum, happy baby, and don't feel bad if you need to use a dummy. Don't feel bad if you need to use a pacifier or something. Obviously, when they're like 4 or 5, maybe you think about taking it away, but do what you gotta do. One other question that I got multiple times was, how do you save money for vacations? How do you plan your getaways, and do you compromise on anything? So I think for me and Matt, travel is really important for our family, and holidays are such a special time for us that we do put a lot of importance and we kind of make it a priority. We spend quite a large percentage of our earnings on vacations, and we have in the past given up things like, we actually considered putting Fraser into a private primary school, but then when we looked at the fees, we thought, well, we couldn't afford to do it for all 3 of them, but also that's our holidays right there, the cost of the fees. So we decided against that. And even when we look at bigger houses, we're like, oh, maybe we could just about afford that, but then that would impact on how many holidays we have. I'm also really lucky now with the vlog that we've actually been sent to a couple of places now with my vlogging. Like, the cruise was a cruise that was actually given to us. That is why I put ad in the title. And also we've been invited to Center Parcs once now as well. But this holiday, for instance, we booked a very long time ago. It was hugely expensive, 2 weeks in the summer holidays. It cost us a lot of money, but we think it's really important, and I think that the kids learn so much on these holidays. And if you were to ask them if they would like a Christmas present or a birthday present or a trip somewhere, they would choose a trip every single time. We also tend to book the things that we know work for our family. So for instance, we're at our 4th sensory resort on this holiday because we just seem to like them. We also book Center Parcs every year because the kids just love it there. And we've even booked our holiday for July 2019 because sometimes you actually get a better deal booking it really far in advance rather than last minute. We have got quite a good deal on our holiday next summer because we've booked it now. So yeah, let me know if you have any other questions about vacations or holidays in the comments below. Someone has also asked, how was life with just one baby compared to having 3 boys? So I know this is gonna sound really weird, but with every child, I feel like I have relaxed more. And now that we have 3 kids, I'm a bit like, I feel like things are a little bit out of my control, so I just need to like sit back and like chill a bit. Whereas with Fraser, me and Matt would both be like flapping around him, making sure he had everything. And I don't know, in a way, I think it was actually harder having 1 than 3, but I know that sounds crazy. I've also had quite a few questions about raising boys, and I wanted to recommend a really good book that I read when I had my 3rd boy. Well, I say I read it, I actually listened to the audiobook version of it because I just find that's easier. I can clean the house and I can like read a book through my ears. So I read this book called Raising Boys. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out. But it just made me think about a few things. Obviously being a woman as well, like I struggle with some of the thought process that boys go through. And I remember when Fraser turned 4, he got really into fighting and superheroes and stuff, but there was actually a reason for that. There was this like testosterone surge, and even things like I let the boys wrestle and stuff because in the book it said that that's actually a way that boys bond together, and it even tells you things to expect in the teenage years, which is a bit like whoa, but I'm glad that I know that kind of stuff now. So if you have boys, I would totally recommend reading that book. I found it really insightful, so I'll link it down below. I've also had loads of questions about staying healthy and losing weight, and I don't feel like I can really advise on this that much yet. I have lost a bit of weight and I've really been trying to maintain, but I yo-yo. Like I was being really good for the month before we came away, and then ever since we've been here, I've just been eating like 3-course meals and donuts at breakfast and been being really bad again. So for me at home, I know a lot of people don't agree with it, but I have done a 3-day juice cleanse or a 5-day juice cleanse, and for me I find it really helpful because it just completely resets me and makes me think more about what I'm putting into my mouth. I did the Cambridge diet for a little while, which again I know lots of people didn't agree with, but it just made me reset and think, actually, what am I actually eating? What am I putting into my body? So that has really helped. I am trying to work out when I can, but I would like to work out more in September. For me, I feel like September is going to be like a new year for me because my 2 eldest will be at school. Jackson is starting a little bit of nursery, so I would love to get into a good fitness regime if I can. And I'm gonna make the next question my last one because I feel like I've been talking for ages. So someone asked, what month did I start sleep training the boys? So with Fraser, he was a terrible sleeper. He got association with breastfeeding when he was a baby, and I got to about 9 or 10 months old and I was like, enough is enough, and I started sleep training him then. So I felt confident that he hopefully wasn't hungry. Obviously sometimes he teethed, but most of the time he didn't. So I will link a video down below which is how I sleep trained Fraser and how I got a baby that went from sleeping just 2-hour stints to sleeping through the night. So I will link that down below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry it was like a quick flappy one because we're still on holiday, but hopefully you'll enjoy this content and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.